I dreamed I was at a party. I've had dreams like this before, but something was off. Everyone was mad at me. Josh, Shannon, and Leo were playing games at the table. I could feel their hatred towards me, their glare saying, "You don't belong here." Fine. I would leave. I called a cab and tried to give them Shannon's address, but she wouldn't give it to me. I went outside to look for the street name. It was completely black outside, save for the walkway I stood on. Where were the streetlights? Where was the street? Frustrated, I decided to Uber, as the app would already know my location. Ding. My phone matched with Michael, who would be arriving in a black Toyota. He drove up a few minutes later. Opening the black door, I climbed inside. Michael greeted me and confirmed my home address that Uber had saved. As we drove away, I looked back to the house and saw only the front window. Josh, Shannon, and Leo all stood there, wide-eyed. They looked genuinely afraid of something. I was expecting smirks as their least favorite friend drove away. But instead, all their mouths were shaped into an O. I didn't puzzle it for too long. Screw them for kicking me out. Michael was a bigger guy. He wasn't fat, but really thick with muscle. He had short brown hair and talked animatedly with his free hand not on the steering wheel. I couldn't see his face. He never turned around. Whatever. All I wanted was to get home and go to bed. I just needed to get home. I must have drifted asleep, for when I awoke, there were two more bodies in the car. Michael's wife, a thin petite woman, and their son. Their son was in the passenger side, and his wife next to me on the back seat. They were discussing mundane chores on their to-do list. I couldn't see any of their faces because they all had their backs to me. His wife kept looking at the side window when she spoke. Why couldn't I see their faces? Michael pulled onto my street and parked in front of my house. I thanked him and opened the door, ready to escape this clown car. I had stepped out of the car and was about to shut the door when all three people turned towards me. I wouldn't have even noticed if I didn't turn back to grab my phone. They had no faces. There was only a blank, fleshy surface where their eyes and nose should have been. The only resemblance of a human was a jack-o'-lantern mouth cut side to side with long white teeth. I screamed and ran up to my house without shutting their car door. My house was unlocked, speeding up the time for my escape. Crouching down on the floor after locking the door, I contemplated what to do. Should I call the cops? What were they? Have they already driven away? I ran into my room and in the darkest part of the house, peered out of the blinds. Fuck. The car sat still with all four doors closed. I couldn't see inside their tinted windows, but I knew they were staring back at me. I could feel it. The dream ended. Thank God. I awoke and relief swept over me. My boyfriend snored next to me, and I could hear our cat walking around the house. Oh, thank God. I thought about waking up Jason to comfort me, but I didn't want to bother him. He looked so peaceful. Jesus, I've never had a nightmare like that before. I looked at my phone, which read 4:54 a.m. After a Google search, it appeared that anxiety and depression are causes of nightmares. Fantastic. Maybe it was my remaining paranoia, but I could have sworn there was scratching at my window. Were there tree branches out there? I can't remember. In the hallway, the cat was still moving. Was she meowing? What was she doing? I thought of checking on her, but I was still scared for my dream. Just need to fall back asleep and wake up when it's daylight. I lay there a few moments more, covering my body with more blankets. There was still scratching at my window. Why was the cat meowing? Jason lay there, snoring. This is insane. I'm just being paranoid. Nothing is wrong. With false confidence, I kneeled up on my bed to peer out of the blinds. What was that scratching? There must be branches outside. I don't remember a tree being there. After taking a deep breath, I looked outside. My blood immediately ran cold. There, on the street, was a Toyota, exactly like the one from my dream. I screamed, waking up Jason. He couldn't understand what I was saying through my panic attack. All he heard was parked car outside. He decided to pull open the blinds completely and see what I was so frightened of. I screamed at him not to, but his hand already grabbed the drawstring. He and I both looked at the parked Toyota on the street. Jason, not understanding the problem, told me I just had a bad dream and to go back to bed. It was a coincidence. Just a coincidence. The cat was meowing quietly. Could Jason hear her? I can't remember if the deadbolt was locked in the front door. Jason would not come with me to check. He said everything was fine and I was being crazy. He started to snore again. I had to do it. I wouldn't be able to sleep otherwise. I crouched below the window's line of sight in my bedroom and started to walk down the hallway. Where did the cat go? There was a window in the hallway that I stopped to peek out of. The blinds were closed, but a little gap between the blinds and windows made the street visible. To my horror, the car door had opened. It was exactly how I left it in my dream. No, this can't be happening. Am I still dreaming? This feels like reality. I just have to make sure the door is locked and I'll go back to sleep. I tiptoed further down the hallway and rounded the corner to face the front door. Our front windows were completely exposed. Jason must have left the blinds pulled up. I could see everything outside. I wanted to vomit. There were 3 humanoid forms walking backwards towards the house. They must have exited the vehicle in the few seconds I passed from the hallway. Every time I took a step towards the door, so did they. It was eerie. They were all in sync. The 3 beings from my dream existed in reality. Still, I was convinced that they couldn't hurt me if the door was locked. I could see the deadbolt undone. We each had 1 step left to reaching the door. I jumped towards it and scrambled to lock the deadbolt. When I did, they turned around. They had no faces. I screamed. I must have passed out, for when I came to, I was in the hospital. Jason told me he found me unconscious with the front door wide open. I tried to explain what happened, but no words came out. He said he would stay with me all night while the doctors ran a few tests. They needed to make sure I was fine before returning home. Eventually, Jason drifted asleep in a corner chair. Who were those people? What did they want? Maybe there was something wrong with me. Maybe I'm hallucinating. Yes, that must be it. I suddenly became aware of how thirsty I was and clicked the call button from my hospital bed. As I lay there, waiting for the nurse, I looked around the room. My window had a small view of the parking lot. It was early in the morning, and the sun started to shine through. The parking lot was quite empty, I thought gleefully. A hospital shouldn't be a busy place. Huh. In the far corner of the parking lot was a vehicle with one of its doors open. I squinted, trying to make out what I was seeing. Was that a black Toyota? Before I could study the parking lot more, my door opened. In came a nurse, walking backwards towards me. Hey everyone, I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you want to see more, let me know in the comments below, and tell me what you thought of this narration. Make sure to follow me on Twitter for updates, and if you'd like to get early videos, shoutouts, and much more, I'd appreciate it if you check out my Patreon page. It's a place where you can help support my channel while getting awesome rewards in the process, and every pledge helps out a ton, no matter the size. So if you'd like to see all the rewards I offer and consider becoming a patron, it'd mean a ton to me if you'd click the link in the description and just check it out. And don't forget to show some love to the amazingly talented authors who make these narrations possible. Have a good night, everybody. Cheers.